Welcome back, everybody. 7 minutes for seniors. This is our second segment. I am Chris Wilson. This is Janet Peterson, assisted living local. You guys just watched her yesterday, and we're back again today wearing the same clothes, in the same location, and still drinking the same beverages. So, second segment, a little bit more about you, a little bit more about the business. So, how exactly do you help seniors? Because we started talking about it at the end of the last segment, right? But what specifically do you do, and how are you a little bit different than maybe the other people that I might talk to on 7 minutes?
Well, I have a real heart for seniors. Again, I had mentioned yesterday about my mother being having a brain tumor, and especially for maybe for a young woman. I had young children, and it was so emotional that my mother was dying with a brain tumor, and yet everything that I tried to do for her was very business.
Mm.
I would take her to some agency to try to get help, and they did that all the time, so they kind of had a callousness about it, like, well, how much money is in your checking account, how much money is in your purse? I clearly remember this person saying, how much money is in your purse? And she probably had 20 cents. And it was very
Wow.
demeaning and
Yeah.
demoralizing. And I wanted to say, she's a brain tumor, like
Right.
she's dying, and she has children and grandchildren, and you're making us feel worse with
Right.
how much money does she have in order to receive help. So when I began to do this a couple of years ago, it's been over 2 years now, I made at a point to myself that I would never make people feel bad. I always want to show the positive side or the good side, or the way that this can work out.
Hmm.
I know you're going through a tough time right now, and I really feel your pain. Let's try to figure things out.
Right.
And that's really important to me, to have that compassion, the patience.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll work with somebody and I'll give them some options, and they say, well, I don't want to do that. And that's not a good option. And that's not a good option. And that's not a good option. And then I say, well, that's, that's about all the
Those are the
choices
only
we
options
have
you
right
have.
now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm here for you. I always say, I'm here for you.
Yeah.
And I will put that in my text. I'm here for you.
Yeah.
Reach back out to me when you want to move along or do something different. And of course, I follow up with them too.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a matter of whether they're going to YouTube University, or whether they're listening to a trusted advisor like you, or they're listening to a cousin that drives past one of these buildings on a
Hmm.
daily basis. I remember I had one lady, she goes, I'm never putting my husband in this place. And it was actually not a bad place, right? They didn't have the best rehab numbers, but that's a whole different situation with Medicare. But actually, their assisted living was really good. But the wife drove by the place, and she goes, I don't like the way that the place smells in the afternoon. And that
Hmm.
was the reason why she wasn't going to put her husband there.
Right.
And I'm like, hey, but you don't, like, I don't know about assisted living as much as you do, right? But I mean, at the same time, like, if you drive past an assisted living facility, it's a mile from the house, and it's clean, and it has a 5-star rating. If you're basing it on the way that it smells in the afternoon, when they're cooking meals or whatever, like,
Right.
you can't help somebody when their expectations are sometimes irrational,
Hmm.
right?
I was just going to use that word. We rationalize.
Right.
And I do a lot of little snippet videos, 45-second videos on Instagram and on Facebook. And one of the ones that I've done a video on is the statement that people have said to me many times: I promised my mom,
Yeah.
or I promised my
Yep.
husband, I will never put him in a
Yep.
place. And just those words,
Yep.
put him in a place
Yep.
or put her in a place. And the thinking needs to switch to, you're not putting
Right.
them somewhere, you're placing them in a safe, warm,
Yep.
comfortable environment that's going to provide really good meals,
Yep.
really good nutrition, really good security, really good
Socialization.
rehab,
Yes.
socialization,
That's very
all those
important.
things that
Yeah.
they need. And the other aspect of that, the mother that you said that to isn't the mother she is
No,
now.
no.
And she would want, if she loves you,
Right.
she wants the best for you.
Yep.
She doesn't want you to ruin your health or break your back trying
Right.
to lift her, or all of those negative aspects of taking care of someone at home. She wouldn't want that for you now.
Yeah.
That mother then would not want that to be done to you today.
Right.
And sometimes we have to move that switch and that thinking
Yeah, I've always said
perception.
you're making promises when you don't know what is around the next bend,
Hmm.
right? You could get somebody who's greatly debilitated, and it's kind of like the mom that has the kids that has to go to daycare, right? Where's the cost benefit analysis where I either take them to daycare or I stay home and I take care of them myself? And the same thing happens when we're taking care of an adult person,
Right.
right? They need assistance. You can't just leave an adult person alone in the home for 8 hours while you're gone. That's a DCF call, 7 days a week,
Hmm.
right? So that's difficult to try to help people answer that question, especially when they made this blanket statement,
Hmm.
20, 30, 40 years ago,
Right.
right? And now, who would be your ideal client?
That's a great question. My ideal client is generally the daughter. Often it's the son, but usually it is the daughter. And she is open to my suggestion. So
Hmm.
the ideal client is somebody who wants to look into placing mom or dad, or even the husband. And they want to do it very methodically. They want to do it without the emotion to make sure that they get the right
Hmm.
fit for them. And one of my mantras is, and I say this so often, what is the loving thing? What is the loving thing? And whether you are dealing with somebody with dementia and you still have them at home right now, or they are thinking about going into a place, what is the loving thing?
Hmm.
Is the loving thing to keep somebody at home with you when you are angry
Hmm.
and frustrated and your fuse is this short
Hmm.
and you feel sick and maybe you have surgery coming up and you're putting off your own needs?
Yep.
Is that the loving thing? And what is the loving thing for yourself?
Right.
Is that the loving thing?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. They
that's
say the
important.
average caregiver forgoes 6 years of doctor's appointments while they're taking care of somebody in their home.
Wow, it's a good
That's
stat. I need to
yeah,
remember that.
6 years of doctor's appointments when we're
Mhm.
talking about somebody in their 60s and 70s somebody can decline very quickly, and then we get a 2-for-1 special, right? We get somebody who hasn't been taking care of themselves, and all of a sudden they're off the cliff, and they've been busy trying to take care of the other person, and now nothing has been done. So that's why it's so vitally
Mhm.
important that these decisions and these questions start being asked before we get there. It's kind of like, don't go to the grocery store when you're hungry, right?
Yes, and when I
Yeah.
do, I pay the price.
Twinkies.
Potato chips.
All right, so you already shared, you mentioned Facebook and Instagram. Throw your handles out there for everybody just in case.
So I'm Janet Peterson with Assisted Living Local LLC. Phone numbers are 904-469-1042. That's my business line. I have an Instagram page, Janet Strong Peterson, and I'm on Facebook, Janet Peterson. I just use my name for everything. And then I have a website, letjanethelp.com.
There you go. It's been 7 minutes for seniors. This is our second segment. Thank you very much. Y'all have a great day, and we will see you tomorrow.